Hello everybody. How is everybody today? It is Monday. It is a Q&A. Let me know obviously if you can hear me, and obviously where's Louise gone? There she is.
Can you hear me?
And can you hear lovely Louise? Because she's the most important person here. Good. Just give us a thumbs up in the chat, which is that way. Good, everyone. So everyone can hear us, can they, Lou? Have to scroll for me. Yeah, good.
Yes,
good.
Brilliant, thank you.
Good, brilliant.
Andrew's loud and clear, and Louise is too. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much indeed.
Fab. Okay.
I'm not quite sure what's happening on my... have to remove that, I think, off the super source because the at the bench is a bit blurred. So good. Thank you to everybody who donated to our run. To get my board rubber a minute. So yeah, we did our half marathon, not last Sunday. We did that. The weather held up. It didn't rain, which was good. They did forecast rain, and I'm pleased to say that we raised £1,600.
Just under.
Just under £1,600 for the Jewellers and Silversmiths charity. Really do appreciate everybody who has donated. If you haven't donated, and now that Louise and I have done the run, and you were wondering whether or not we were going to do the run, and we have done it, we would love you still to sponsor us, okay? So it's www.atb.yt/run. Okay, it's the last time, today is the last time we're going to be chipping on about this. atb.yt/run. It is still not too late to sponsor us. Even if you could sponsor us £10, that would be absolutely brilliant. All the money goes to the Jewellers and Silversmiths charity. Louise and I trained for 20 weeks. We did it in under 3 hours, and we did an amazing job, didn't we, Lou?
I think so, even though I hated every second of it. Well, that's not quite true. I liked the first sort of 40 minutes, 45 minutes, yeah. But
yeah, we did it in under 3 hours, which is what we wanted to do. We raised nearly £1,600, and if you could just see your way to just donating £10, if everybody was on here now, there's 52 of you. If only half of you donated £10, that's another £260 for the charity, and we would love you if you could do that. Absolutely. Anything else we need to talk about, Louise, before we start our Q&A? I know you're frantically trying to download the pictures. Are they downloading now?
I've got some pictures to show. Yes, I have them. I am sorted.
Brilliant.
I think.
Okay, should we start? Should we get cracking in with it? We've got a few things, haven't we, that we picked up from Birmingham. We were at the Nudge Awards. At the Bench won Highly Commended, which I thought was rather good.
I was absolutely bouncing.
It was a lovely evening at the Burlington Hotel in Birmingham at the National Association Jewellers Awards evening, and we won best. No, we didn't. What we did? Highly commended
for Service Supplier of the Year.
For Service Supplier of the Year.
Yeah, and we sponsored the Workshop Professional of the Year category as well.
Yeah. So yeah, we did rather well for that. We had some lovely meal. We had a nice award ceremony, and that was really good. You know, we beat people like the Edinburgh Assay Office. You know, this little old At the Bench beat the Edinburgh Assay Office and a few others as well. And we were,
but you know, it's great to be in the final anyway.
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. To be shortlisted is an amazing achievement, yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. We got a few new tools to experiment with, to play with as well. We picked up at Walsh. We picked up a laser pecker, didn't we? Laser pecker 4, simple laser. We just set it up now. It's my little pecker. Louise is gonna have a play with my little.
Please don't.
With my laser pecker. We just set it up. I turned it on, constructed it. Haven't engraved anything yet. We're going to be doing that later on this week, and have a bit of a play with that. Review of that will be coming very, very soon.
You're so immature.
We've also got the new Durston Hobby 80 rolling mill. I'm not going to say what we're going to do, but Matthew has given us 5 hobby rolling mills.
5?
5. He's given us 5 hobby roller mills to give away. Look out for social this week. We're going to be telling you how we're going to be selecting 5 people to win the hobby rolling mill, which I think is really good, isn't it?
I'm super excited about it.
Yeah.
Do we have any other news about any giveaways yet, or is that for later?
I think that we could say about the.
Or maybe we'll keep that. There might be another giveaway coming, so maybe just.
Yes, there will be another. There will be another giveaway coming. Let me just have a look just to see if anything has.
While you're looking,
yes,
can I just tell everybody about my advent calendar, which I've got on the way?
Oh gosh, yes, please. Tell everybody about this.
Because there's lots of, well, there's not lots. There's a few jewellery making and jewellery related calendars on the market. There's the Gemology Rocks gemstone calendar, which is absolutely wonderful, and you get a different gemstone every day, which is fabulous, and a little lesson every day as well, telling you all about some of the properties of the stone, basically if you're selling gemstones or working with gemstones, information which helps you with that. And it's just time out of your day where you can sit down and just chill at a busy time, and not at a busy time, but at a generally busy time where you can have your quiet time to just do that and open something really pretty. But this year I've got on the way the Wax Carvers Advent Calendar. I'm going to put the link in the chat here. And
I must say that we're not sponsored for this. We haven't been given this. Louise has bought this with her own with her own money.
I'm going to get a chocolate calendar as well, right?
A chocolate calendar?
Yeah.
Do you want a chocolate calendar? You never have a chocolate calendar.
Well, I can't eat the wax, can I? Anyway, Sandy, if you're there, I don't know if anyone's got any questions, but essentially it is, you can have the lessons, or the lessons and the kit and the wax. I've opted for the lessons and the wax because I think we've got most of the tools, haven't we?
Yes, we do.
And essentially it is a lesson for every day of December. From the 1st to the 24th. All the classes are pre-recorded, so you can watch them at your leisure whenever is the best time for you. For me, it's probably going to be in the evening when I come home from work. And I'm probably not going to be in my studio in December because it's cold down there and
it's busy.
Yeah, and it's busy. So I'm just so looking forward to having just some time to learn some wax carving, because it's something I've wanted to do for so long. We don't do a lot of it here because
we don't get the call for it.
We just don't, yeah. I mean, now and again you do some wax carving for a commission for a customer. Other than that, we don't do a lot. So I can't wait. So half the classes are full projects where you learn to make a full piece that's ready for casting by the time the calendar comes to the end. Half of the classes are techniques. So these are things that you can learn and then just develop in your own designs. Yeah, so I can't wait. So I think I've just put the link to that in the chat. So if you look into
calendar,
get an advent calendar, and if you've been meaning to learn wax carving, I think this is going to be the one for you, and I think it's going to be the one for me. I'm so excited about it.
Yeah.
So
that's
I've put the link on there. Yeah, I can't wait, and it's lovely. It's something which you can do in the house if you put kind of like a tray down, I presume, and but then I'm quite messy, so
like a big baking tray or a
yeah,
tray
you can
toaster
just
on.
yeah. It's just something nice to learn.
Yeah.
It'd be a nice project, something to devote my time to. Otherwise, I don't think I'm going to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a brilliant idea.
Great.
Excellent.
Okay, cool.
So there we go. So don't forget, check out the link. It's the Wax Carvers Advent Calendar. As I said, we're not being sponsored. There's nothing at all. Louise has bought this and we're waiting for that to turn up. When's that coming from? Sweden?
I should know, but I forgot. I know it's not in the UK. That's why I've ordered it really, really early to make sure that it arrives in time. So if you are based in somewhere where Sandy's not, then I'm sorry, I can't remember.
We did check, and there are. We did check, and there are.
They're still available this morning.
Calendars away from this morning. Yes,
yeah.
Brilliant.
So I would advise ordering nice and early to make sure you get your kit.
It's really good, isn't it?
And presumably the lessons are going to come over the internet.
Yeah.
But if you need any kit.
Well.
But yeah, if you look at Wax Carvers, I think it's just Wax Carvers on Instagram. Let me just check the handle.
Look at you. get the handle?
Yeah, just wax carvers. Yeah, you can ask Sandy any question there about what tools or materials you might need and what sort of package is going to be best for you, really.
So there it is on there, wax carvers.
So yeah. Join in and learn with me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so there we go. So there's wax carvers. Go and follow them on Instagram. If you want to message them, just say that we recommended them to you and just go and have a look at the advent calendar. Brilliant. Excellent. Should we start?
Yes, let's.
Good. Oh, let's record. Am I recording? Why can't we record? Oh. Are we full? Is this full?
Is that why?
Yes, there we go. Recording. Okay, Louise, it's Monday. It's the 12th. No, it's not. What day is it today? 14th of October. It's time for our Q&A. Louise, do we have our first question, please, my dear?
Okay. Gary, hi Gary. I had a blowout while vacuum casting silver. The silver wound up in the bottom of the chamber, which had some investment in the bottom. Now I have a silver blob with some investment mixed in with it. How can I best remove the investment and clean the silver?
So the best thing to do is simply to remelt it. Get a crucible, put some flux upon the silver when it's molten, and as it's molten, the silver will push out the investment because the investment is lighter than the silver, and it's almost like impurities within the silver. If like you melt down like a bolt ring, the spring gets pushed to the top onto the surface. Swoosh the crucible around and that'll get taken up inside the crucible. I would do it that way rather than add it to your melting pot before you cast it, just to be on the safe side that you can melt it. You're in control of that in a crucible with a handle. Swish it around, tap. Any of the investment powder will come to the surface. Sprinkle a bit of borax on the surface, swoosh it around, and the investment will get taken up into that borax and put into the crucible, and you should be able to get it out of your silver. You can pour that silver out if you wanted to, and then go and carry on and melt that the next time you want to do some investment. So that would be the nice, easy way of doing it. Yes, Louise.
Okay. Let's see. Sandra's just picked up her brand new, just an Agile Elite. Ooh. Bang the bolts tomorrow. Then I'm off to the races. Yay! Oh, fabulous.
Sounds good.
That's cool. Pauline says, I need to solder a sterling silver ring 5.25 wide and 1.7 mil thick. Is there a way to hold it in position to get a tight join for soldering? So
we don't use anything to hold a ring together when it comes to soldering, do we? A lot of people will put binding wire around the ring to hold it. Personally, I don't feel the need for that.
Oh, I've tried binding wire, but not strong enough and it keeps slipping.
Okay, so binding wire, I wouldn't even worry about. I would simply bend it around by hand, which is most probably what you have done. What I would do is that perhaps when you heat up the ring will just relax a little bit and the joint may open up slightly. So what you would need to do is to get the ring, and it would be to overlap it slightly when you bend it round. Okay, so it overlaps slightly, and then you need to bend this out and downwards, so then these joints then come together. And what you need to have is some pressure pushing on the two faces of the ring. Okay, so you need to have a little bit of pressure on these two faces in this direction. Not an awful lot, but just a little bit of pressure. And by overlapping, okay, and then opening back up, you're putting the ring under a little bit of tension down here. So when you come to heat the back of the ring will relax slightly, hence the reason why you overlap it and then bring it together like we've got on there. And then just keep on heating the back and then bring the heat round to the front. Some people, as you say, will use binding wire to hold the thing together. Some people will put it into a soldering block with loads of holes and put a couple of pins to hold it together. But I have never had the need to hold the ring together. As long as you put the ring under a little bit of stress, so when it comes to touch, it's just pushing together a little bit, And as long as you've got that tension there that comes from overlapping, you should find that it should hold together. Sometimes when you have the metal and you bend it, you do add a little bit of work hardness into it, and then as you heat it, you anneal it and it relaxes, and that's why you get that bit of a gap. But make sure you overlap it, okay? Make sure you push it further than what it needs to go, and then bring it back into alignment, a little bit of pressure, and you'll be fine. Yes, Lou?
Okay, let's see. Fiona says, well done on your half marathon. Thank you very much. Why do carnelian beads bounce like ping pong balls when other gems drop and roll? I don't know.
I have no idea.
Carnelian's quartz, isn't it? So couldn't be to do with density or...
I've no idea. To be honest, I've never experimented.
I'll ask Kerry Gregory when I see her.
I've never tried bouncing. It's a good idea. A little test, bounce some beads. Get some beads, equal size, and just drop from a height and see how far they bounce.
Everything I drop on the floor, I lose
bounces
forever.
and rolls.
Everything.
What did you find today on the other side of the workshop?
I found a garnet, which I lost about 2 months ago. I'd given it up for lost, completely lost, and I found it under a chest of drawers in the other corner of the workshop. I'm really happy with that. That was a win. I don't know, sorry. Like I say, I usually lose everything that I drop on the floor, whether it's silver, gemstones, whatever. Janet says everyone's going to be testing their beads for bounce or roll.
I should say so.
Oh, thank you, Sandra. Having bounced several whilst making acorn earring drops, I suddenly became aware of this.
You put when you do beads, you work on a tray and you put like a cloth on the bottom of the tray, don't you?
Yeah.
So it does not.
Just got like a clean tea towel or something, or just something plain that you don't mind looking at for a while. Yeah. Especially like pearls and silks and things like that. It's just Linda says, I've been working on a pair of earrings today and dropped one on the floor. It's the size of a fingernail, and do you think I can find it? No.
Look at the chest of drawers on the other side of the workshop.
Probably find it in about a month, like I did. David says, what is more important is why, when a piece of gold pings out of your pliers, does it manage to get through the small gap above the bench skin and below the bench? Yeah.
Oh, the worst thing was, I'll tell you, I'm sure I said this before. When I finished university and I worked in a jeweller's over Christmas time, literally for a couple of months just to get some experience, and I hated selling. I absolutely hated selling, and I'm showing somebody some rings, and they gave me a ring to get the size, and I dropped it on the floor, and I looked. It was carpeted, and I looked everywhere on the floor for about 10 minutes. I'm on my hand and saying, awfully sorry, and they're just standing there, and I'm looking around thinking, no, because I was behind the counter, and it was in my turnips. Though back in the day, back in the 80s, back in the 80s, like an inch high, but it got caught. It fell. Like I listen all the time to where it falls. I hear, I can listen. You can roughly work out.
You did after that experience.
And I didn't hear it drop. So I'm looking, ended up in my turnips. So yeah. Also, what's quite a good idea was at the end of your apron, if you could have a little bit of Velcro on either side, to have a bit of a turn up in the apron and have another bit of Velcro in the middle. So if it falls on your apron, it doesn't roll off onto the floor. It'll get stuck in the bottom of your apron. Have that for free.
Make a turn up then. Great.
Exactly.
Sandra says, I just bought my first drawer plate. I had no idea the drawer tongs were so heavy duty. Did I buy the wrong ones? Mine have curved handle ends and a ring on the end. Are they meant for a drawer bench? Yeah, I'd say if there's a ring on the end, yes. We sell drawer tongs, and they are really, really heavy duty. They're like that, and then there's the joints like that, and then it crossed over like that. One end then has a hoop like that. Yep. So the idea is, as these would be hand drawing tongs. You hold it, you squeeze it, and there's a hoop there so you to hold on so your hands don't slip off. That is going to be like a hand tongs.
drawer tongs. The other ones will have it's like a loop that side and a loop that side as well, and here's your teeth, yeah, like that, and they go around like that. And now, because you've got these two little hooks here, on the end of a drawer bench, there's usually a ring that will go round, yep, that then gets pulled in that direction. And as the ring is pulled, it pulls the handles then together, which increases the grip at this end, so you can draw them. So if there's a double hook, they are usually for a drawer bench. If it's a single hook, it's usually by hand. They don't usually come with a ring because the ring is already attached onto the drawer bench, whether that be a chain type or a belt driven one. So this is the hook, sorry, the ring is usually attached to the drawer bench. So they are heavy duty, even if you're drawing very, very fine wire. Yeah. Or if you wanted to use a nice pair of pliers, parallel pliers perhaps, or another pair of pliers with a little bit of a grip, standard, or if you've got those, like we call the monkey wrenches, those grippy pliers, when you squeeze, they hold. Yeah, that's another way of doing it, yeah.
Mole grips, are they?
Mole grips, yes.
Yes, mine have two hooks and a ring.
Yes,
Yeah.
most probably for a drawer bench, but you can still use them.
Okay. Good. Debbie says, how can I stop my pliers from marking? It's a good question.
Okay, so where are they marking to? If they are marking on the edge of the pliers, so if we've got a pair of pliers here, if these edges here, okay, are marking, just get a gentle bit of a buff stick, an old bit of buff stick or some emery paper, okay, and just remove a little bit off these outside edges, yeah.
But don't go too far because they won't close, will they?
No, you literally just removing that edge, just like that. So you're removing those sharp edges. It's only going to be a few little goes, like that. If you've got a dual tool, just take off those edges. So you're removing those sharp edges there. If it's going to be the, I don't know why I did that. If it's going to be the face that's marking, you can get, I don't have any here, but you get some heat wrap. Heat wrap. Is there any up in the cupboard? Oh no, in fact, I got some down here actually.
What about the ones with the plastic covering on them?
Yes, you can. Shrink.
The only thing with that is I find that it they slip a little bit.
That is the problem. Yep. So we've got some. It's like a roll of orange. It's in a. That's it. So I have.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to slam that door.
So I've got some of this. It's like a shrink wrap. It's like this is like a tube. You can put it over the end of your round nose pliers. Okay, you can put it over the end of your round nose pliers. Push it nice and tight. Cut the ends. Where's it going to go? Cut the ends like that. Someone told me off for not using a heat gun, but guess what? I don't have a heat gun on my bench. So
is a heat gun better to use?
A heat gun you can do, but then all you got to do is just use the heat from a torch or a heat gun. Just the heat now will shrink that little bit of plastic that goes over.
Presumably a heat gun is better because it's not going to melt your handles.
Yeah. So you can warm that up like that. Heat gun is better. And now that little bit of tubing has shrunk to cover these round nose pliers.
How long will that last?
It's however long it needs to.
You never told me that before.
And you would do then the same to the other one as well. So now they are protected. You can buy this. I bought meters of it, really cheap. You can buy different sizes, different colors. I bought this size to go on my burrs so I can then write on the actual shrink wrap tube, whatever you want to call it, so I know the size of the burrs. Excellent idea. Obviously, when you come to some metal, the metal may cut through it. You may be able to turn this around to do it to protect your pliers, but that would be a way. Or, as Louise said, you can also buy parallel pliers that have got brass on the inside, and brass being softer than steel, it won't mark as much. Or again, as Louise says, you can buy pliers, I don't have any unfortunately here, where the jaws are lined with plastic. The problem with that is because the plastic is soft, it doesn't really grip onto the pieces very well at all. So you can use that, but I like this bit of shrink wrap, heat wrap, I don't know what it's called. What's it called? Heat shrink tubing, something like that. Heat shrink
tubing.
Heat shrink
said, yeah, that
tubing.
covers all the bases.
There we go. You heat it, you shrink it, and it's tubing. But that's a brilliant way just to hold your work without marring.
Good.
Yes, Lynn.
Okay, good. Stuart is saying, is there a way to create a hollow twist using wire? I've tried twisting wire around a spindle, but I can't get the lovely rope pattern that you get when twisting the wires around themselves.
Repeat that. Is there a hollow twist?
A hollow twist using wire.
The only way that I know how to do that is Durston sell the hollow tubing dies to be able to twist. We've got one, we've used one. The problem is they're not cheap. You insert a limited size of tubing. It's about 4mm, 4.5mm tubing. You can put round tubing into it, and as you pull it through, it automatically twists, and it'll twist it in a variety of different patterns dependent on the die that it is being pulled through. We've got one that will twist, and it's very good, but it's about 180, 190 pounds just for the die. It works very well, it twists very well, but it has limited uses because it's a hollow piece of tubing. Very hard then to turn it around into, say, a hollow earring, because again, it's tubing. Practice on some brass before you get onto your silver, because once it goes through, you can't do anything else with it after that. But apart from that, I don't know how you would get a hollow square section twisted nicely, unfortunately. They are expensive. They're on the Durston website, but they are close to £200 a die. You can pull it through with your hands. It's very good. Yes, Lou?
Okay. Anthony has the laser pecker.
Hey!
Loves it. Wish I could cut metal or engrave silver with it.
Okay. We shall be looking at that later this week.
Okay. Phil says, how can I harden aluminium wire? I'm trying to make chainmail, but the wire I have is so soft the jump rings keep opening up again. Ooh. The wire has a coloured coating, if that changes anything.
I don't know. I'm sure it does work harden, but I would not have thought there's much you can do once it's been anodized. I don't think you can do anything. I think what you'd have to do is have a thicker wire. That's why a lot of chainmail that I've seen using aluminium is being quite thick, because, as you say, the aluminium is really soft. I don't know any way you're going to be able to harden that properly without affecting the colour of the anodized finish on it. I'm afraid I don't think there's going to be anything that you're going to be able to do apart from just get thicker jump rings or make the rings a lot smaller. And by doing that, then it's going to be less bendy. But I don't think there's anything else you can really do, unfortunately. Okay. I'm sorry to say.
Rafika is saying, for a newbie who wanted to step up stones and gemstones setting games, which stones and gems that you would recommend to start with, and why?
So when it comes to stone setting, what you need to do is have calibrated stones. And what I mean by that is, if you buy a 2mm stone, it has to be 2mm width. Also, if you buy things like sapphires...
Can we just say what kind of setting are you going to be doing initially? Bezel or collet?
Corset or whatever.
What kind of setting are you thinking of doing as well?
It makes life easy if all your stones that you are buying are the same size. And that just means not just the diameter here, but these proportions from there to there to there, and the girdle is going to be the same thickness on every stone. If you buy, say, 2mm sapphires, they could be like that. They could be like that. The problem is when you come to set them, whether you set them flush setting, claw setting, if they're like this, you're going to have problems every single time because every stone is going to be a different proportion. So that's why I would always practice with cubic zirconias, CZs. Make sure you buy them from a reputable supplier. Don't necessarily buy them off the internet from a supplier you've never heard of, because again, the cubic zirconias can be different sizes. But if you can get, I think it's AAA or is it AAAA quality, they're pretty much going to be exactly the same depth, diameter and girdle size. And now when you come to set, you can be sure that every stone is going to be the same, and every time you make a hole, it's going to be the right diameter. Every time you use a setting burr to do your setting burrs that may look like this, yep, you're going to be guaranteed that this angle is going to be the same, that's going to match the stone every single time. It just makes so much sense. Cubic zirconias, you can buy them by the hundreds, you can buy them by the thousands. Use them for practice. They are the best. You can also buy cubic zirconias that are coloured as well, and you can buy them in all the colours, the rainbow, blacks, purples, blues, greens, blues, light greens. They all sort of like replicate a natural stone. So again, cubic zirconias, clear and coloured, gives you the best chance of your setting.
But if you've got any more ideas on what kind of setting you want to do, if you haven't done any stone setting before, if you haven't worked with stones before, then bezel setting is by far going to be, I would say, the best kind of setting to start with, the easiest type of setting. And you're going to probably want to start with a round stone,
definitely, with
a really flat bottom, because sometimes you get stones which have got
cabochons.
A cabochon stone. Yeah, you don't want one with a round bottom.
No.
Because that means it could rock about a little bit. But yeah, let us know what kind of setting you're thinking of doing, and we can give you a bit more specific help then.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Jane says, on Kembu, I can't remember if I polish before adding the gold foil or after.
You, in theory, can polish afterwards because the golden foil has now been chemically bonded, physically bonded to the silver. So it is, in its essence, one metal. But being about 0.2 of a micron thick, or is it 2 micron or 4 micron thick, it's still very thin and can be polished away if you're a bit aggressive. So I would try as much as I possibly can to polish it, rouge it, then carry on the process of your Kembu by heating it and quenching it, then putting the foil on, burnishing it and so forth. Then all you have to do then is add a little bit of rouge to polish it. If you're having to use a Tripoli or a pre-polish, you're going to find that because of the aggressive nature of the polish, it's likely to take away some of that foil. So what you want to do is limit the amount of polishing you could possibly do. So polish everything beforehand. And I think Kembu looks really nice on like a matte finish as well. So the two surfaces really do show up. But polish everything to a high standard first, and then just go over gently if you need to afterwards with rouge.
Good. Linda is saying, after your last workshop, I bought a hand hydraulic press and some shot plates. What a great way to use up all your scraps. Thanks for another great workshop. Yay!
Brilliant.
On that note, I've got some more information. Did you guys see, was it 2-3 weeks ago? We did the shot plate and dies workshop. It's available to rewatch now, so if you're a full member, it's included in the cost of your membership. If you're not a full member, you can buy the workshop for £15, or you can subscribe for a month for £20 and have access to over 1,700 films and projects, and all the other workshops as well. I think there's about 30, there's over 30 on there now, isn't there?
Yeah.
So yeah, check that out if you haven't already.
And that's atthebench.com.
Yes, Stuart got in touch with me last week, who had a great success. I'm just trying to get the text and the and the pictures up for the same time. Bear with me one sec. My computer's decided to have a funny. Just talk amongst yourselves.
Yes, so I can't remember what we used after the workshop. What did we use? Did we use at the bench atb.yt / I can't remember. Can you remember what we used? Punch? Die. That's it. If you want more information, again, it's www.atb.yt / That's D. That's terrible, Andrew. DIE, as in die punch. That is going to give you all the information that you need for the shot plate and impression die workshop. As Louise said, it's £15. You'll also get your discount code to get 10% off Jemina dies as well.
Okay.
Yes, Lou.
Right, good. I'm just going to show you. Oh, what have I done with it? Right, so Stuart watched the workshop and bought my favourite shot plate. Which is a little poison bottle. You can actually show.
Yeah. Okay.
So Stuart got this fabulous as well, because when we showed this in the workshop, we used a thin flat sheet.
We did.
And we impressed it into the shot plate with a hydraulic press and
yes.
Delrin squashy.
Yes.
What's the word?
It's a urethane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. To make the impression, which ended up a hollow impression.
Yes.
So Stuart did something a little bit different. So we used the hand press with the poison bottle impression die and used a piece of scrap silver shot, which he'd melted and rolled and annealed. So it came out really, really well. It required quite a bit of silver and took 3 goes with the hand press to get the full impression. You had to re-anneal it each time. And you do need to push the silver further. You need something to push the silver further into the mould. So not having any urethane pieces, Stuart used some scrap silver. He said you do need quite a bit of muscle to use the hand tool, especially towards the end, but it does work. Mm-hmm. The only issue he had was the shot moving slightly between impressions. You can see that very, very faintly here. But he says he thinks this was more to do with him rushing to finish. I do that all the time, don't I? I get excited and then get really overexcited. He said he thinks the dice are lush. I love that, good Welsh word. Opens up a whole new world to silversmithing, something I might not have tried without the workshop. And thank you and Jemina for offering such a great discount, which you get if you join the workshop, basically. Exactly. So yeah, how cool is that?
It's really good, isn't it?
And it's a good way to get, because I like to have a solid piece rather than, if I do something hollow, I feel like I've got to put it back on it, or, you don't have to, but yeah, what a brilliant result. I don't think you'd get much more detail than that, would you?
No.
If any.
No.
Brilliant.
But the one thing that I had from Stuart from Jemina, is that if you put your shot into the die, say like that poison bottle, you initially push it down into the die, so the metal starts to go into the die, and then you've got the edge, haven't you, of where the edge of the die comes to before it goes in. If you then take that piece and you use a piercing saw and you cut on the outside edge, so all you're left with is the poison bottle, okay, albeit not a really deep impression, but just a little impression just to get that shape. Put that little cut out poison bottle back into the die. Use the hydraulic press or your hand press to push it in, okay? Take it back out, see where it's flanged, you've got a little bit of the excess gone over the die. Again, use a piercing saw, cut that excess off, anneal it and put it back in. Do that 3 or 4 times and you will get a beautiful, solid impression. But you've got to make sure that you cut off that little bit of excess every single time, because that is stopping the metal going into the die. Remove that and you should be able to get a really good, fantastic impression.
I think as well, don't be afraid of just trying something a bit different, because what a fabulous result.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Nice to do it. Thank you so much for sharing that as well. That's fab.
Good.
Brilliant. Thank you. I've actually got a question which came in via email yesterday from a lady who can't watch live because it's, I think, the middle of the night, or she can't. Can't watch live. Okay. So I've got some photos to show you as well.
I haven't got it on. You're okay. Calm down, darling.
Right, one moment, let me find
Okay.
them
We shall have a look.
and I'll show you.
Okay.
Okay, so
Can I show? It's on there now.
you may.
Okay.
Okay, so these photos, these are Brandy's photos. So she's making a signet style ring for her husband's wedding band. Wants to set 3 small stones in the centre, which are going to be hers and her 2 daughters' birthstones.
Oh, lovely.
How lush, yeah. The only problem is how to get the band even all the way around. Can you describe how one would mark it in order to ensure metal thickness is appropriate all the way around? Tried using a circle divider because it's not the flat. The head of the ring is wider than the band. I can tell that I'm not marking the exact same spot on each side. Can you please offer some advice?
Are the stones going on the head? Is that what she
in the
means?
centre, yeah.
Down.
I'm guessing in the
way?
centre here.
So
Yeah.
how to get it so it's even down the centre? Yeah.
How to get the band even all the way around? Do we mean this part of the band?
Oh, I don't know. So is it a question about setting the stones? How to get the stones straight?
I think we mean the band here. Because are there marks there? Or is that the light?
I really don't know. So the only way to get it is purely to use your eye and a pair of dividers. It's like
Is that the only way?
Like you do the wax to get so if it's even, and so I don't understand fully, to be honest.
I can tell I'm not marking the exact same spot on each side. So I
So the
think
stones going down the sides.
no, I think it's just to level these off.
Level the sides off, or just level the taper?
Level the band.
Right. So the only way to do it, if it's tapered,
Is it here? Look, is it to ensure the taper is the side on both equal on both sides here and here?
you see, oh, hang on, I'm on the
You
wrong
know,
one.
you're just on me.
No, I was on the pictures down there. Go on.
Okay, here
Yeah.
and here.
Okay.
What,
Yeah.
What have you got on me? Oh, that's that computer. All right,
Yeah.
okay.
So there's no way to do it. You have to do it by eye. So I presume you've got this coming down like this, and you want this like that, and you want to make sure that this taper is equal. But you can only do it by eye. You physically have to do it, file it with a file, check it. Perhaps what you could do is get a pair of dividers and mark down, say,
Yeah.
2mm increments like that. Try and get a center line, and now you can measure out, 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 and out. And then on the other side of the ring, do exactly the same as that. Measure 2mm increments, pair of dividers for that. And then on the top one here, you measure from here to here. You get that measurement, make sure that measurement is the same as this measurement. On the other side of the ring, do exactly the same center line, 2mm down, say, measure the distance, and you can only do it that way. And make sure that that is the same distance there to there. Make sure that distance is there, same as that one there. Make sure that one distance is the same as there, and so forth, yeah. Does that make sense? Make sure they're the same, and on the other side of the ring, so here then is the ring this way. So you've done 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 down there. Yep. Da, 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 da. You go da, 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 da. So these are equal distances down. You can measure them with a pair of dividers, and then make sure that this distance on this side here matches the same distance on this one here. And there's your line coming down there. So you measure here, measure over there. That's going to be the only way you're going to do it. I can't think of another way.
If that doesn't answer the question, just pop
Just
another
get in
email
contact with us.
And if we've misinterpreted it, but
Yeah.
hopefully that will help.
Yeah. Ideally, if you cast it from wax, I would have made sure that the wax is perfect in every way, because obviously it's easier to carve the wax, to refinish the wax, to get the wax easily tapered, easier to do it in wax rather than cast it and then have to then play around with the silver one after you've cast it. It's a lot harder. So yes, so if you do it in wax, pay really good attention, make sure all your dimensions and your proportions are perfect before you cast it. Yes, I think that's what she means. If not, get in contact, Brandy. Yes.
John says, what's the difference from lab gemstones to natural ones? Labs can be controlled with less imperfections, but is there a price difference?
I shall let you answer that, Louise.
There is a big price difference, yes, is the quick answer. Why is there a price difference? Because yes, they can be recreated infinitely.
Yes.
I guess that's the answer, isn't it, really? They lab-grown diamonds particularly have gone down in price and they continue to do so.
Yep.
But the difference, like the chemical difference, so laboratory-grown diamonds are crystallised carbon, earth mined diamonds are crystallised carbon. They're not the same because we can't tell the difference.
Yes.
So we can't say they're the same because there are chemical differences in them, which makes them discernible, really.
Yes.
But it's the same with synthetic sapphire, synthetic emeralds. Chemically,
synthetic
they
rubies.
are similar to their counterparts in that their chemical makeup is essentially the same, isn't it? Yes. Essentially the same, basically the same, but there are differences.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we use the term synthetic, it is a laboratory grown, isn't it?
Yes, and the reason why they are so cheap is the fact that they can be mass produced.
And quickly.
Yeah, exactly, very quickly. Whereas in earth diamonds, you have to go and have the equipment to mine it, to dig it, to mine it. Yes, you do have to have the equipment to do the laboratory grown diamonds and rubies and emeralds and sapphires, but you can repeat the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And also now you can obviously grow these particular stones to have particular inclusions as well. So it is not necessarily a flawless D-colour diamond that will come out of your, what's it called? Thule. Is that what it's called, Lou?
What did you say?
Thule? No. How do they grow the diamonds? What's that thing called?
There's two ways.
Yeah, when it's grown on thing. What's that thing called now?
Do you mean bull?
Bull, that's
bull,
the one.
That's,
close.
That's for corundum.
Corundums,
yeah.
Sorry, apologies.
Yeah.
But now, yes, you do get inclusions in the stones.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the inclusions that are in the stones help us to identify them as laboratory grown.
Yes.
I don't think it's necessarily diagnostic, but that with other tests will help us tell whether they are laboratory grown or whether they're natural.
Exactly. So there we go.
It's piecing things together as part of a puzzle, isn't it? And then all the information we use together to make a decision.
Yes. I think that answers the question.
I hope so, yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay. But you could, that is a huge topic we could talk about all day, really, isn't it?
And laboratory grown stones are not necessarily ethical, not necessarily more ethical than mined stones.
No, some of them still use non-renewable...
A huge amount of electricity.
Fossil fuels, yeah. So some use completely renewable energy sources and some don't. So they're not necessarily better for the environment. They're not necessarily a more ethical choice. It's a very, very complex issue, isn't it?
It is.
So yeah.
And a lot of diamonds and coloured stone mines are operated, and everybody then who buys the stones from those particular mines goes towards helping the children, the education, the building of schools and everything. So yeah.
It's a huge topic.
It is.
And I would recommend that you follow Gemology Rocks on Facebook, Instagram, social media channels if you want to find out more about that kind of thing.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Good. Anthony, when I did my Kembu, I polished my piece, but the finish I was after. Then I applied the foil, burnished it on, and lightly polished it off. The gold foil will wear over time with polishing.
It will.
Okay, yes. Good. The beads. Apparently it's the Einsteinian theory. Any bead dropped on the floor will bounce once and then evaporate into thin and never to be seen again. Yeah, that is definitely true in our workshop. You should start selling knee pads for the number of gems we collectively drop. Yeah. How many jump rings did I lose the other day? I can't remember what I was doing, but I was trotting back and forth in the drawer. You were looking at me like, what? Yeah, not good.
That's also as a result of not looking after your tools, like your tweezers. Make sure your tweezers are nicely...
I need some new tweezers then.
No, you need to look after them. Look after them and file them and grind them so that the tips come together gorgeously. Yes, if they heat up, they bend, they come all out of the place. You just make sure you hammer them, you straighten them, the points come together. File with an old file or on your dual tool to get your tools. And you should do that, so like once a week, once a month.
Really?
Just to make sure they're all looking good.
Oh wow, I'm going to do all of mine tomorrow then. Okay, good. Jane is saying, I read somewhere that if you heat brass, it hardens, and I want to stamp out. Do I anneal or not between stamping?
On brass, I would have thought that most metals will harden at a certain temperature when you heat them. I know silver does for definite. Also, argentium also hardens when you heat it at a certain temperature for a certain length of time. So yes, I would have thought that it would be the same with brass as well. What temperature? I don't know, but I'm sure it would apply to brass. So you need to heat it to the correct temperature to anneal it. Look on Google, annealing temperature of brass, and it should come up with what it is. Yes.
Good. Joan is asking, how can you clean micromesh cloths?
You usually can't, because they become impregnated with the metal. So I would have thought that if you're using a micromesh cloth and it's I don't know, 4,000 grit or whatever, or 4,000 whatever it is, the more you use it, the more you're going to wear it away, the more it's going to clog up slightly with metal. So it's going to get finer and finer and finer. So perhaps if it's like a 4,000 grit, for argument's sake, you've worn it down, it may be the equivalent of 6,000 grit now. So then I would get a fresh piece of 4,000 and use your worn piece of 4,000 then as a replacement for your 6,000, because it's going to be finer. I don't think you can clean it. I've never tried washing it. I don't think washing it's going to work. I never tried. But that would be my argument. It's not like a piece of emery paper that you can put water on it and the water then gets rid of the excess little filings out of it. I don't think you can do it that way. No.
Good. Mary wants to know, what's the most cost-effective metal to start working with as a beginner? Thanks so much for your knowledge. You're welcome.
Thank you. I think copper. I think copper's one of the best. Copper's nice and soft. It bends nicely. It work hardens. You can use silver solder on it. You can bend it. You can shape it. You can anneal it. You can file it. You can cut it and solder it. So
Does
I think
it behave
copper,
similar to
it is very similar. It's a lot softer when you anneal it, but it's a great metal to practice with. Our students on the diploma have had some copper to do some copper soldering with silver, and also they're making up like a sample copper chain, aren't they, just to get practice on it, because it's great.
Some of our students have made like an entire project in copper as a practice, really, just to, before they make it in the silver, which is a great idea.
Yes, so I would definitely say copper. You can get something that's called gilding metal. The chance of you getting it, plus it's not as good as copper, but definitely copper is going to be your best, definitely.
And where's the best place to get copper?
Depends on what you want. We sell small little copper squares, 3-inch 75mm squares. We sell them 0.9 of a millimetre and also 1.6 millimetre.
So they're great.
We sell them.
Piercing,
piercing.
Practicing your piercing. You can cut lengths to make
store. Rings.
Yes. Flat, wideish rings. Yeah, piercing, embellishments.
Yeah, and that's atthebench.store. It is on your screen now.
Good. Okay.
Excellent.
Fab. John says, I've made chainmail. Most people use a hard gauge wire. Soft wire will get damaged. It's lightweight, but you will be constantly repairing.
Aluminium, yes.
Jane says, if I oxidise a silver piece and put it in a tumbler, do I change media from stainless to stone or ceramic so it doesn't all come off?
You don't need to, but what I would do is keep separate shots for your oxidised that you do for your cleaning, because some of that oxidization solution is going to come off in the water and also attach itself to the shot. You don't need a stone medium or anything like that, because the barreling action is going to wear away the high spots, which is going to wear away your oxidizing solution, whether it be liver sulfur or platinol. But keep separate barrels for clean silver and oxidized silver, definitely. Or if you don't want to have clean different barrels, make sure the shot is different and make sure you wipe the barrel out in between pure silver, clean silver and oxidized silver to get rid of all the oxidation. What you don't want to do is to put your lovely clean silver in it and it ends up being oxidized when you didn't want it oxidized. And it would do if it was mixed up with the solution.
Good. Rafika is saying, as I started with beading and wire jewellery, I still have so many fully drilled stones. Is it possible to have them bezeled or any other ideas? If you've got fully drilled, I'm sure I've seen, if you have a look on online at the Jewel Tool, you might have heard of it. I'm sure I've seen people
Cutting? Or
basically grinding down or
down?
cutting
The stones.
beads with that. So
You could look at that. Or you could wire wrap, couldn't you? You could get your bead.
I think that's what
pass that
Rafika's
round.
been doing,
Yeah.
beading and wire.
And do that and
So
just
you
wrapping.
could, yeah, but I would probably, you might be able to turn it into a cab
Yeah.
with the Jewel Tool.
Yeah.
And the Jewel Tool's, I mean, if that's all you're going to do with it, it's probably quite an expensive piece of kit. But if you're starting metalsmithing, you can, it's so versatile. You can use it for de-spruing, you can use it for polishing, you can use it for filing, you can just,
Cleaning up your solder
you
seams.
can even just clean scratches off watch glass with it, solder seams. Yeah, there's an attachment for everything. It's absolutely brilliant. I love mine. So have a little look, and you might be able to do something like that with that. But if you're new to setting, completely new to working with stones, I would absolutely recommend bezel setting, round stones, or even like I love working with rose cut stones.
Yes.
So they've got flat backs, but they've still got facets on the top so that they look really pretty. Yeah.
Nice.
So,
Depends on the size of the stone, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like a 4mm stone is going to be really, really small to hold on to try and sort of grind it down in half. But that'd be the best way of doing it, I think. Yeah, definitely.
Good. Okay.
Good. Last question before we go.
Julie says, I have a few coin rings. One is an old 10p. What's the best thing to polish it with?
Just use a bit of rouge or Coca-Cola or tomato sauce, and that will get rid of, especially with the old like copper money. Yeah, Coca-Cola or tomato sauce. Rub on the stone.
We had a customer, didn't we, who asked about, she had like a bucket full of pound coins, didn't she? And they were all stuck together with verdigris or something.
What a dilemma.
And yeah, so we said put some Coca-Cola. Because it's pretty nasty stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, especially when it comes to metal.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, and teeth, I think. I need to stop drinking it, really, don't I? Barbara, do I need to use copper solder on copper and avoid the silver eventually showing on the joints?
Yeah, you can get some copper solder. I don't know where you can get any from in this country, in the UK. But I know places like Otto Fry or Stella will do some copper solder, and it's solder that's very similar to the colour of copper. Otherwise, silver solder is fine. Yes, you will see the colour of the silver solder, but it can't be helped.
So there's nothing, that's because Martin's just asked
really
the same question, nothing you can use for copper?
No, no.
I suppose just use the minimal amount of silver
yes.
solder and try and put your joints where they're not going to be seen wherever possible.
Yes. Yeah, or put some texture over the joints, something like that. If it's on a ring, put some texture over it, back of the ring, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Good.
Totally. Was there anything else that we forgot?
Yes, I missed out a couple of questions, so I
Okay.
feel like I have to go back now, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Barbara, you might have answered this already, but can you draw down argentium? I have 1.3mm wire, but I need 1mm wire.
Yes, you can. Argentium will draw down very easily. It's a bit softer than sterling, so yes, you can easily draw down argentium wire. Use a draw plate, but yes, you can quite easily. Yes.
Excellent. Should we make this the last question?
Yes.
Yeah. Jane says, I need to make a bangle, but it needs to be extra large and I can't get 1mm plate long enough. Any tips to soldering the flat plate together?
Ooh. Just got to be really careful with your soldering. Got to make sure that when you do solder it, it's just placement. It's really, you just got to get a soldering block that is perfectly flat, that you then can put one metal and put another piece of metal exactly by the side of it, so they're not one above the other and they're not wonky that way as well. So I think you'd have to lay it on your block. Excuse me, perhaps use something like another soldering block or board on either side of the metal to make sure the metal doesn't move, make sure the metal doesn't go up and down this way or sort of side to side, and make sure those joints are going to be perfect seams, perfectly flush all the way. Just you may find that the sides you may have to file the whole strips down so they completely match, and then also make sure that when you come to tap the bangle round that you remove the solder from the inside first of all, because if you hammer the bangle around and there's solder still on that seam, you're going to be hammering that solder into the metal. So try and remove the solder from that surface that's going to be on the inside first, then you can tap it round, then you can remove the solder then from the outside, and try and not remove too much metal, because don't forget, if they are slightly, if you solder them and the ends are like that, one is above the other, when you file this one to match the thickness of that one and file the thickness of that one to match the next one, not like that, the metal is going to be even thinner at that particular point. So make sure when you do solder them, they are perfect.
Good.
And there's your solder. Remove the solder, bend it round, remove the solder off the top. There we go. Cool.
I know we said no more questions, but I really love this question. What basic skills would you consider to be essential to be good at what you do if you were just starting out? It's a very good question.
How long have you got?
The basics.
The basics.
The basics that you can build on.
The basics. This is
I know what they are.
This is what we teach in our diploma. We start off with piercing, because every piece of jewellery you've got to pierce. You've got to cut out, cut to length, cut a pattern out, whatever. Piercing, definitely.
Straight lines.
Yeah.
Curved lines.
Straight lines, curves.
Corners.
Insides, sharp corners, piercing. Soldering. You've got to be able to solder to be able to construct things. So definitely soldering. And I would think just those two techniques you have to master. So you should be able to pick up your saw and cut any pattern that's put in front of you. Any line, whether it be inside, outside, straight, curved, you need to know how to do that. And soldering, you need to understand the principles of soldering and get the soldering right first time, every single time.
If you can do that, you can do lots.
Yes.
Lots and lots and lots of other
Would you agree
things.
with that? Just
Absolutely,
those two skills?
Yeah. I think that's what we do most of.
Yeah. And soldering, understanding how soldering flows, understanding the stages of the solder, the construction, how to hold pieces, how to put pieces together, how to get flush fitting joints, because the closer the joint, the stronger the actual joint is going to be. Don't try and cheat, don't try and take shortcuts, because it doesn't work. Practice piercing. Doesn't matter what piercing saw you've got. I've got a simple saw here that I bought when I was in uni. I still use it every day. Fixed frame. You can buy a new concept saw, you can buy a green lion saw, you can buy a haymaker, but they will not improve your soldering. Of course they won't, because they're for piercing. You will not improve your piercing, because it is you. You are the engine behind that. You are in control of the saw. So buy a nice, cheap, good quality saw frame, whether it be a fixed frame or an adjustable frame. Practice, practice, practice. And only once you can cut your lines that are perfect, that you can go on to a more expensive saw. But don't think a more expensive saw is going to make life easier for you, because it won't. Steve
Sato said to me once, why do you use such a basic saw when you have access to lots of really nice ones? And I said, because if I can't saw where I want to go with this, nothing else is going to really help me, is it?
Exactly.
So
those are the things that we do. to make sure that you practice. It's repeatable. The first week of our diploma, it's so boring. You just cut line, straight line with a little bit of a curve, straight line, a bit more of a curve.
We're all boss at doing it now, aren't we? That's the thing.
This is the thing. They are absolutely brilliant. They spend a whole week cutting curves, cutting lines, cutting angles, cutting insides out, cutting shapes out, and now we've been doing some marking and they're brilliant. So practice. Mm-hmm. Good.
Anthony said, thank you again for a productive Q&A. Need to learn how to type correctly in order to make the comments make sense. No, you make sense. You're fine. And happy Thanksgiving as well in Canada.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes. Barbara said, I'm thankful for Andrew and Louise. Oh,
thank you.
Thank you.
That's very kind.
We're thankful for all of you guys too.
And you're starting to flash black for some reason or other.
I think I've been doing that. Oh, no, I'm really flashing now. Sorry. Okay.
That's it.
Fabulous.
Thank you to everybody.
Great. I don't think we've got anything else we need to say.
No, as I said, keep an eye out on socials because we've got 5 hobby mills to give away.
We went to Jewelcast. That's the other thing.
And we went to Jewelcast.
Oh my gosh. What a place.
Jewelcast in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Amazing building now.
On Friday, yeah. We were really lucky we had a tour. So we couldn't really film inside there because obviously it's confidential. There's people's work and things like that. But do you remember my twig earring? Did I show my twiggy twigs?
Can't remember.
I think we did. I think we showed the twig
socials,
earrings.
Yeah.
They were on social. I'm pretty sure we showed them at the Q&A as well. So I recast the twig, which I was particularly taken with, this little twig. Recast it and I sent that to Jewelcast and they've made, so that's my master, they've made a mould of that and now I've got as many twigs as I need really. So expect more twiggy jewellery from me. It was so easy.
Yes, so jewelcast.co.uk.
Yeah, if you've got any ideas or anything that you want to cast, you can either have something that you've made cast. So I Delft clay cast my twig and sent that up as the master, but you can send anything in theory, can't you?
Yes.
So yeah, get in touch with them if you have got something in mind that you want to use in a design, I guess.
Jewelcast. And I think that they're going to be coming very handy for when you do your advent calendar and you're going to have all these waxes, all these masters, and you want them cast. Jewelcast, Jewelcast, jewelcast.co.uk. They are in Birmingham. And if you do contact them, mention that Louise and Andrew recommended.
It's so exciting, isn't it? We went up and it's so exciting. David says Jewelcast are great. They certainly are.
Super. All right, everyone, keep it out on socials. We got some amazing giveaways. Like I said, we got 5 hobby rolling mills to give away. You wait till we have our elite rolling mills because we've got an amazing offer giveaway for that. Keep an eye out on socials all this week as well because we've got a few more giveaways coming from Jamina. I will say that. Ooh. So anybody who has bought a workshop of the shot plates and impression dies, if you've bought that workshop, it was £15. You can still buy it at atb.yt/die, D-I-E. It's £15. If you're a paid member of At The Bench, you have to apply for the workshop to be able to be entered into the draw.
Do you?
Yes.
How do you do that?
You have to buy the ticket, and it's free, isn't it, for paid members?
You have to buy the free ticket.
You have to buy the free ticket to be entered into the draw. So nobody else, only people who have got the workshop will be entered into the draw.
Okay.
Yeah. Not if you have to get, because that's our terms and conditions. People who have got the workshop, bought the ticket, whether it's free or £15, you'll be entered into the draw. Can you
still buy it retrospectively?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
You can still buy it. Because then we have a database of all the people who have bought it. All those people will go into the competition. So you basically got
to subscribe to it.
You have to subscribe or buy the ticket. You would have had emails with... No, I'm
just confused how you subscribe to something we've already got access to.
You should be able to.
Okay.
You should be able to get the ticket, which is what you can do. You've already had emails for the impression dies with a code. That code has to go into the box for you to get that workshop for free. It's
going to be complicated.
No, it's very simple. It's very easy. You've had emails when the workshop was planned. You've got emails, and in those emails, whether you wanted to watch the workshop or not, you've still got that coupon code that you enter into the checkout to get it for free. Only then will you be entered into the draw. Okay, Louise.
Okay, fabulous. I think that's the end, isn't it?
Yep, everyone, enjoy the rest of your week. As I said, keep an eye out on socials all this week. Amazing giveaways coming up this week and next week, and something absolutely fabulous as well coming up, but we're not going to talk about it. So, Louise, we shall say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Everyone, take care. We'll see you all very shortly, and thank you everybody for joining us today. Bye-bye.